Hi guys, it's me, Carrie, and Lemmy the bird, and joining us today we have Scout. It's my daughter. She's going to be working the video camera for us. And today we are painting a cow.
Let me get you better focused, Dan. There you go. That's the cow.
All right. All right. So our colors for today, the colors that we'll be using in Craft Smart, we've got apple tart, grass green, black, brown, and white. Those are all our Craft Smart colors. In the Americana, we have, it's okay, Scout.
Oh, never mind, sorry.
We have burnt sienna, we have peony pink, we have berry red, we have cadmium orange, and primary yellow. So those are our colors for our cow. Now, keep in mind, the cow that we're painting today in the original has a very, very pale background. It's almost white. But you can do that background in any color you would like. Of course, one of my favorite colors is the Bahama blue, and that would be my choice. But I'm going to paint it as much as I can like the original, so that's usually what I do. But any color background would work. Light blue, the Bahama blue, of course. A pink, if it's going in a nursery, would be really cute. A light green. I would definitely keep it light. Well, no, that's not even necessarily true. A black background would be awesome as well. The possibilities are pretty endless on that background. But since we're doing it as much like the original, we'll do it with a light white. Now, I've already sketched my cow on here, and that is going to be the hardest part for you all, is the drawing. But the way that I say that is always just break it down into simple shapes, kind of find the center of your canvas, and what I found the center of the painting to be is about right here. Well, that's the center, but about an inch this way is the point where the back meets. I'll just kind of give you guys a rough sketch out of what we got going on there.
So why do you trace the cow before you start actually painting?
I always have to, just to prepare. I like to, when I paint, I don't like to have to think too much, so I do all the thinking beforehand. I just have it on there, and then I can just kind of feel my brush strokes and just go with it. So I found, like, the center of our canvas is actually the curve of her back here. This is as far out as our cow's gonna go. So there's a lot of background. She's an asymmetrical.
She's just throwing the food everywhere.
And then, so the center, I always find the center, and then I can kind of gauge things from there. So, like, for instance, her eye is a bit up from the center. This is her eye area. Cheek. Little nose lines here, just to give us a little guideline. Break it down into simple shapes. So the nose is very square, but tapers in a little bit. The lips. The chin. Little side. Just do your basic lines. All the stuff you can add, you can paint over. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. Adjust it as you go. I know her flower will come down to about here. And I have just rough shapes drawn out for my flowers. I will definitely play more with those as we go, because those are very fun, sporadic brush strokes. So once you get the general shape of your cow on your canvas, then you can move forward with your painting. Move forward with your painting without having to think too much. It can just be loose brush strokes and just kind of freeing. So I'll just go ahead. Well, I don't really want to do that. I will start with our background. We usually start with our background when we paint acrylic paintings. Oh, and another thing I wanted to tell you guys, I never tell you guys on video because I assume that you already know because you've taken some of my classes. These are my 3 go-to brushes. I have a wide flat brush. I have a medium-sized flat brush. And I have a round brush or a liner brush. Those, you can paint any painting with those 3. There are other brushes that you might have in your collection that would help with things. Like a fan brush would be really good for this one because she has very delicate hair strokes and stuff. But I mean, there's lots of options, but you can paint with just those brushes. Another thing is, it probably looks kind of funny to you. This is all going to be flower up here.
Yeah. It doesn't.
It looks weird proportion, but the flowers start here, so we only need to worry about cow down there. Okay, so let's get to painting. We're going to do background first. So the background is white, but I'm not going to paint it just white. I'm going to add just a little bit of color to it. So I'm adding a little bit of black. It'll gray it up a little bit. And a little bit of brown. I'm a big fan of mixing colors. I don't like to use just the colors that they give. I always, if you can mix a little bit in there. You could add a tiny bit of blue. But I like to have a little color to it. Okay, so just a little bit. Tiny, 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 tiny bit. And that will be my color. So it's kind of a light gray. I like that. Now you have to remember that it's a combination of paint and water. That's gonna help that blend, especially since I did some mixing of color and stuff.
Here are some interesting cow facts. Cows are red and green colorblind. So you see this beautiful stand for Lemmy? That's red. They can't see that.
Thank you, Scout.
You're welcome.
What else about cows?
I can't see Lemmy either. Oh yeah, that's true.
Lemmy's
invisible.
Completely invisible to a cow.
Well, maybe his white would show up.
Just be a little white chin coming at him.
Yeah, like cows, our normal body temperature is 101.5 Fahrenheit.
Wow, it's pretty warm.
Yeah. The average cow chews at least 50 times per minute. 50 times, guys?
It's every second. Almost every second.
Me. Do you want more food?
Did he already eat that?
No, he didn't eat it. Crazy.
Lemmy loves painting because when he gets to paint with me, he gets NutriBerries.
That was my next question. Oh, jeez.
So he,
Like, why do you have Lemmy out?
Lemmy is here
Keep on.
for,
Sometimes he scares me because he doesn't really like me that much. But
so I go both ways with my brush stroke, up and down and across. I've already got paint on this entire background, but right now I'm just blending it in. Blending it in, blending it in. I'm not too worried about when I paint onto my cow. It's not a big deal because I will be painting over that.
oh, this sounds interesting. A dairy cow can produce 125 pounds of saliva a day.
Gross.
Exactly. It's really gross. Man, cows are actually really interesting. They are. Usually you wouldn't think they're interesting, but they are.
I love cows. I always want to hug them.
Hug that. See what happens.
I've always said I want to hug a cow. Every time I see them out in the fields, I'm like, I just want to go hug them. I don't know why. But then one day on Facebook, I saw where people charge like $300 to hug their cows.
That's just dumb.
It's therapy. It's cow cuddling therapy.
Here's another fact that cows are actually like dogs. It says that cows have great sense of smell. They can smell something up to 6 miles away.
That is interesting. I did not know that. Okay, so now I have my light color mixture on my palette here in the center. I've pulled out some white and then I put a little bit of black and brown in it. You may not. You may have done a different color for your background. That's okay. So just kind of play with your white paint. And the colors that I want to add to that white is going to be just a little bit more brown, and I'm going to add just a little bit of my yellow. That's going to give me a super pale, creamy, yellowy color, like a tan. And that'll be my first color for my cow. And I'm just going to put that on kind of the light spots. I'm going to go bigger than what will actually show. You could cover the whole cow with that. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is it's your mission. Yeah, let's just cover the whole body of the cow, her back and her shoulder here and her under the chin area. The reason that I do that is because when this cow is finished, I want to make sure that I have paint on every bit of the painting. I don't want any canvas showing through. So this helps that because I know I have my gesso covered with paint.
So what color are you going to do the flowers?
All kinds of fun colors. So that's done there. Now the face, I'm actually going to use just white. I haven't cleaned my brush, so it'll be a little dirty, but I'm going to do some white around her eye area, under the eye on that upper cheekbone, and around this eye a little bit, and around the outer part of the muzzle here. So that again is just because
wow. Way to get in the shot.
Okay. Alright, so now I have my light spots covered in both areas. I've got the creamy color down here, and I've got just a really light, almost white color up here. Oh, and the ear. Let's do the ear too. The inside of the ear, just that almost white color. It's just my dirty brush with white, basically. So that helps a whole lot as far as getting all my colors on there. In fact, just in the spirit of making sure that I have everything colored, I'm going to use white with just a teeny bit of pink, and I'm going to add that up here into my flowers. So again, it's almost white, and this is really just to make sure that I have no canvas popping through when I'm all finished.
Me and Lummy are so weird.
And we dip in the water occasionally. Okay.
Did you know birds actually love bananas? We love them more than monkeys.
Alright. So, there we go. Pretty much every part of my canvas has a little background color on it now. That makes it a whole lot easier to add those details. Because when you paint a painting like this, it is a very delicate painting. Some of the paintings we paint, especially when we paint like landscapes and stuff like that, we can pile on the paint. This, you do not want to do that. It actually looks like it's watercolor. So it is a tiny bit of paint at a time. It's very delicate. So we'll start adding some color to it. So I'm still playing with that mess I have in the center, the creamy color. I'm going to be playing with that for a long time, as long as I'm working on this cow. I'm going to add a little burnt sienna to it this time. I just pick up a little burnt sienna, and I'm going to add that into the back area. Again, I just have a little bit on my brush here, and I'm just bringing it down into that area, along that outer edge there.
So why do you have like tan in the middle?
That is kind of just my base color, and I'm going to be adding to it and taking away. Adding just a little bit of burnt sienna down here where I think that that's probably her leg. And I'm just kind of feathering it into my beige. Not painting really smooth. It's more of a light texture. I'm gonna take that burnt sienna and kind of start working around some tones in her under her chin here, just dragging it down. So it's just kind of got some wrinkles or hanging.
Is it an old cow?
I just think cows are kind of wrinkly. You want to look and a little under that chin there. Just gonna go across and blend it in. It's just really loose brush strokes. Don't think too much about it, but tiny bit of paint. That's where you're gonna go wrong. See, when I'm dipping in my paint, it's just itty bitty little bit. So we're gonna go on the outside of her face here. This is like just the shadow that her face is casting on her back, and just kind of blend it in. So I only dipped in my paint just a tiny bit that one time, and I'm able to go through that whole area there. One time dipping. That is going to be your problem. I think when you're painting this, if you're struggling at all, it's think, am I using too much paint? Because it is just really a little bit of paint at a time.
There's a close-up of Lemmy.
Hi, Lemmy. Say hi, Lemmy.
Isn't the mama?
Hey, pretty bird. Who's a pretty bird? Who's a pretty bird? Who's a pretty bird? He usually puffs up real big when they say that. Okay, so the color that I'm using down here to do the shading is pretty close to the same color that I'm going to be using up here in the snout area. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. I'm still playing with my white in the middle. It's a lot of white because she's soft, pretty. I'm actually going to add just a tiny bit of that berry red to that because it's almost got a pinky tone to it, and maybe a tiny bit of my dark brown. So pinky tone, that's good. So I'll just start in the center. It's up a little bit from that boxy part. This is where we already painted that white, so it's up a little bit. So don't make the mistake of going right there at that. And I'm just going to kind of do a dark center, maybe give her a little tone on the side here, because then I'll lighten it up. Start adding some other tones to it.
Okay,
The dark shadowy spots.
So, why do you like art so much?
Why do you like art so much?
It's your interview, not mine.
I don't know, it's just something I've always done. My mom got me started.
Did you just eat that part of the banana?
She was an artist. She's always had interest in art, and her dad did. It's just kind of always been part of my life, I guess. Just kind of spinning my brush around. Again, I'm using just a little bit of paint at a time.
So, when you spin your brush, are you just trying to get like details in like the fur or something?
I'm just kind of, yeah. It's just kind of doing some shading, but I don't want my viewers to know how I painted it. I don't want them to see the brush strokes on them. I want them to just look magical. So I do different brush strokes. So I go across, I go up, I spin it around, and it's all just about kind of getting that color tone on there. Where did he get that?
What?
A banana.
He didn't. I had it and he grabbed it. And then he puked everywhere.
Did he puke?
Yeah! I'll clean it.
So I'm adding a little bit of black to that color because it gets a little bit darker in the cheeks.
Sorry, viewers.
And works its way up. Just a tiny bit. I mean, I'm going to be saying that word this whole painting. Just a tiny bit. But I mean it. I mean, the mistake you can make is going too much with it. Just see, just that little bit of black that I added to that color changed things. Now I've got like this grayish color. And it goes right up around that eye there.
Do I put this on it?
Goes right up look later. Just a tiny bit. And the idea is going to be to just gradually take that color up to that light spot around her eye. But I don't really want to see a line. So I'm going to kind of feather it into that light spot. What?
Never mind. I think like Caliber freaked out or something.
Just trying to get your banana.
Yeah. But me and Lemmy already ate it all. So.
Okay.
So why are you putting different shades, like one on the eye and then one on the...
It's just how she looks. Take some of that light color, or that new color, and just kind of bring it into the nose just a little bit. And then I'll darken up a little bit again in the center here. It's about having different tones, different lines, all those little details that you can add. So I'm just using a little burnt sienna to just kind of add a little bit more. Tiny bit again. It's tiny bit. Just going around and adding a little bit more rich, just burnt sienna. That's such a pretty color. Blend it in a little bit. Some markings into the cheeks with the burnt sienna. Wipe off my brush a little bit to get some white on there, and just the white is just gonna help blend the two together, the above the nose into the color. Just give another tone. And don't forget to just dip in your water a little bit. That's gonna help blend too. So this makes sure I've got my canvas covered. No canvas showing through. Those little white spots, don't want to see those. A little bit of paint at a time. That's the general idea for these watercolor type paintings. Of course, we're not painting watercolor. This is acrylic paint. But the painting was originally painted in watercolor, and we're trying to mimic that with acrylic. That's the cool thing about acrylic paint, is you can paint in the style of watercolor. You can paint in the style of oils by adding mediums to it. A high gloss medium will slow the acrylic paints drying and thicken up the paint so it acts more like an oil. And then of course the water adding to the acrylic is going to help you get that watercolor look.
So are you gonna like ever do this cow in your paint party, or have you ever done it?
We're actually painting this tonight.
Oh, fun.
Yep. Painting this tonight. And the reason we're doing a tutorial is because I had several people ask me to paint this for them. So I needed to paint one anyways. I'm gonna go around the ear now, and what I'm doing is I'm still working with my monkey mess in the center, but I'm adding a little bit more brown and a little bit more black to it, and I'm going around that edge of that ear. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly go around the whole entire ear, and then I'm gonna kind of drag it in. Just a little bit more water in that mixture.
So has like Bob Ross inspired any of your paintings?
Of course, I love Bob Ross. I have watched all kinds of Bob Ross. So I'm gonna use my finger to just kind of blend those two together. So I don't want a straight line. Nothing about this is gonna be straight line. It's just all delicate blending. A lot of water.
And Eiley has this cow joke, I think.
You want to tell a cow joke, Allie?
Sure.
Is that what you've been like sign languaging me? This is Eiley, my other daughter. They're home from school today because it was too cold.
It was like 3 degrees. This is what Kentucky gives you nowadays.
Okay.
What is a cow's favorite party game? Musical chairs. I thought you were gonna say Monopoly.
Monopoly.
That sounds right.
That's funny. Thank you, Eileen.
No problem.
So I'm still playing just with color tones, adding just a little bit here and there, and I'll probably do that the whole time we paint. So since I'm doing that color that I'm using around the ears, the black and the brown together with just a little bit of white, so it's pretty dark. I'm gonna use that to just do some little dark shading under my flowers.
Clean my teeth for the dead.
Under my flowers. Little shading under the flowers there.
Are you gonna do it?
Just add some depth around the snout a little bit and this side over here. Just to sharpen things up a little bit. Now it's just a little bit, tiny little bit. And let's actually take that color, it's black and brown, teeny little bit of white with it. And we're gonna go around the snout here because it's pretty sharp. All the way around her snout. So if you need to switch to a liner brush for that would be fine. I mean, it's really, really dark color. It's a little brown mixed with some black. It's almost black. It looks pretty black on the canvas, actually.
So why'd you pick this music?
It's nice, relaxing music.
I can tell. They probably can't hear it.
And we're gonna go and add just a little bit of that under the chin area here. This is all very dark. Again, little bit of paint. I'm just kind of working it into my canvas, but there is hardly any paint on there. A little bit of paint at a time.
So, what's your favorite paint color you use?
Pink color?
Paint color.
My favorite?
Yeah.
We're not using it today. My favorite is Bahama Blue from Americana. We're gonna go right above that. I just have black on my brush now. This is the first time I'm using a pure color. I haven't mixed anything with it. It is just black. And I'm gonna take that right at that lip line right there and I'm gonna bring it up into the nose. But I'm just gonna take it up in the nose a little bit, up into that little box that is her nose there. And I'm gonna do that up a little bit higher on each side. Like so.
This is probably really awkward. Because I do one dancing, and then I don't even think they hear the music.
Okay, and then I'm gonna switch brushes real quick to a medium flat, and I'm gonna fill in her nostrils with that same black.
So, what gave you the idea to actually do this as a job?
Well,
How was your first paint party?
my first paint party was Nana Darlene asked me to do a paint party for her friends. So she had friends over, and I never knew what a paint party was, but I looked into it, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And then I started
What was
doing
your job at the time?
I had just graduated with my degree in marketing, and I was looking for a job in marketing, but I was working at Otter Creek Tavern. I'm gonna take just a little bit of that black up and around this muzzle here, a little tiny bit. And then now the idea is to work from black into a light gray at the top. So it's gonna be a gradual. So what I'm gonna do is I'm still using my black, but I'm adding a little bit of white to it as I go. So she asked me to do the paint party, and to get the supplies, I did a really small paint party at Otter Creek Tavern. I think my first party was like 10 people.
It's not bad.
But I had only bought 10 easels, and I liked it so much. I was like, I want to do more of these. And so I took the money that I made at that party and bought more easels and did a bigger party, and now I can do 40 people is my max, but sometimes I do more. I've done 58 people.
Is that your highest?
58 was the biggest class I had was a fundraiser.
Well, technically, like 300 at our school.
Oh, that is
Yeah, that's
that
true.
is true. When I painted or when I taught the kids at Vine Grove Elementary, I actually did 100 kids at a time. So we did
And how much times did you do it? Did you do it each grade?
each grade.
So 500
So
students?
500 students, but 100 at a time.
That's crazy.
Holy guacamole!
Did you get paid?
No, did not get paid. That was volunteer. That was volunteer. So I'm adding a little bit of that gray down here into the chin as well. Taking just a little bit of white, still got a dirty brush, but I'm taking just a little white to just kind of highlight again that nose there. Okay. So at this point, and I'll take some of that light color and go around her snout and just give a little gray around her snout here. At this point, I pretty much have paint somewhat. And let's go around the nose a little bit with that light color too, because we don't really want any strict lines. We don't want to see where one color starts and one color stops. That's kind of the idea. We don't want perfect lines. That's a big thing, because a lot of times my painters are really concerned about making their lines so perfect, and I'm like, no, don't do that. No perfect lines, because in nature, things don't perfectly line up like that. It's all a perfect design, but it's perfectly designed in randomness. Okay. So, while we're working with those dark tones, really all we have to do now is clean the eyes up. So this eye, I'm just going to add a little dark tone over here, saying that there is an eye over here. Maybe a little line up on top there. But we're not going to be able to see what actually is going on with that line. We don't see that eye over there. But this eye we do see. So I'm going to fill in the entire center of her eye with black. Entire center. This is a very important part of the painting. This is when it all kind of comes together. I'm going to add a little white to my brush there and do a gray under it like eyeliner.
That cow's gonna look amazing.
And up into the eye a little bit. Then I'm going to take black again and go around that eyeliner. Really dark. And on top of that again. And it actually kind of goes up into under that flower there. Now, here is a mistake a lot of people make. And that's going to be with the eyelashes. The eyelashes, people, when they think eyelashes, they always want to go straight up with them, like what you see in cartoons. But really, eyes don't do that. Our eyelashes don't go straight up like boom, 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 boom. They don't do that. They actually go down and out. While in the cow, it just pretty much goes down. So the angle at which you're looking, so you got the cow, the angle at which her eyelashes are is like this.
Yeah, I don't
It's-
count for that weird giraffe kind of look.
Oh yeah, they have beautiful eyelashes. So I'm just gonna take, I have my small flat brush on its side, and I'm just take it out and shoot some straight lines out at that diagonal right there. And that's gonna give her super glamorous eyelashes. But you can use a liner brush if you prefer that. So I'm gonna do my eyelashes, just dragging them out, and she's got long, pretty ones, just like that.
You should do like
Maybe a little bit more.
a painting of. You should do like a painting of like you only use makeup.
Painting done in makeup.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It'll take a lot of makeup. Okay, So here's the most important part of the eye. Scouty, you might want to go get the video and bring us up closer to the eyeball here while I'm working on it. She's coming along.
Why are you right here?
Pretty. Zooming in. All right, so while we're zoomed in here, I want you to notice how none of these brush strokes are perfect. Nothing. There's no perfect lines. Like, zoom in right here. It might look to you like it's a perfect line from a distance, but if you look here, it's all very jagged and piecey, and that's what we want. And we want it to look artistic. So now, bringing our attention to the eyeball. I'm going to show you again what we did. So we filled in this whole center circle here in black, just straight black. Then we took a little bit of white and a little bit of black to make a gray, and we did this area right in here. And we just drug it up to the top of the eye here, but we didn't go all the way around the top of the eye. Then I took black again, just black, and I did a line under the eye, and I did a nice thick line up here, think like eyeliner. And then I actually drug a line up into here, which is just the shadow that goes up into her face, which we can actually make that a little bit thicker. It just goes right up into under the flowers there. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Then we took and brought our eyelashes straight down like that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of highlight to that eye. This is where the magic happens, you guys. This is where the cow comes to life. So, one tiny little dot, which you can use the back side of your brush. I'm just gonna use my eyeliner, but you can use the back side if you would like, without the hairs, is just a little light shine in her eye. And I like to dab it just to blend it a little bit and then lighten it up again. That's the reflection of the world around her. And I'm going to take just a little bit of white and kind of highlight under her eye here and maybe around a little bit. Just little highlights like that bring her to life. Okay, so that's enough on that. And with that, we pretty much have our cow finished. You look at your cow and you're thinking, come here, Lem. Step up. Step up. Lemmy, step up. When I'm looking at it, this is what I'm not liking. I like everything about the cow except for the eye socket area right up there that we originally did with a really light white. I think we need more color in that. It's too light. So I'm going to mix a little bit of black and white, mostly white, and I'm going to add a little shadow here. So there's a little gray shadow into this eye here. Just to switch it up a little bit, give a little bit more dimension. Use my finger to kind of blend that in. And I'm going to do a little bit more. Oh, that's a lot of black. Mix that up very well. I'm going to do that a little bit on this side too. Around with a grayish color, just so we don't have that stark white. Maybe just kind of blend it down there. And while I have that on my brush, that really light gray, I'll just kind of play with the muzzle area with that a little bit too. Because we don't want, and under here. Now the last thing that we're going to do is the same as what we did to the eye. We're just going to take a little bit of white and we're going to give her some highlights. So a little bit right there on the chin, maybe under the chin, a little bit on the nose, around the bottom of the
Lemmy's so smart.
nostrils here. What did he do?
Okay, so he got on my phone and actually took some pictures. He He took 135.
Jeez. Of what?
Just random grit.
So just take that white and just kind of highlight a few things. And let's see, another thing we need to do, that creamy color that I have on my plate, I'm gonna add a teeny tiny little bit of peony pink to that creamy color that I still have on my plate. Teeny tiny bit. And I'm gonna use that to put a little bit more burnt sienna in it, just tone it down. I'm gonna use that inside the ears. Little tiny bit of paint on my brush, not much at all, but I'm just gonna give her a little bit of a pinky color in these ears. Just the tips of my brush very lightly dragging on that ear there, just to add a little pinkish tone inside those ears there. And I can take that pinkish tone and just kind of brush it off on my cowl in some places, maybe down here. Give her a little pinky tone.
I think the cow looks like a cookie. See?
A cookie?
Yeah, like bite marks.
Okay. So now we get to go into our flowers, and flowers are often a lot harder for people than they think that they're gonna be. But the thing with the flowers is just like everything else, just don't try to make it perfect. It's, especially with this, it's supposed to be loose brush strokes, not perfect. Since we already have a super pale, almost white color over all of our flowers here, we don't have to worry about covering everything. So our brush strokes, so we're gonna use the background as part of our painting. So just kind of slap on some color. This is a little bit of yellow here. There's a flower. Then I'm gonna take, I'm gonna add just a little bit of the Candium orange and add the inside of this flower up here.
Now, for our sponsors.
And then the rest of the flowers we're going to be using a combination of berry red and the peony pink.
Yeah. So, how her career started was from this beautiful paint right here called Craft Smart. It gets on the canvas very well. You only have to put like one dip in the paint and start smearing on the canvas. Good spread. And then we got this Americana Deco Art paint. They got many colors. Here's some of the colors that she's using today. And this is also some of the paint that she used at her start of her career. So I would recommend, if you're going to paint this beautiful cow, as you can tell, I recommend this paint. There you go.
Thank you, Scout.
You're welcome.
And Craft Smart Paint.
Yeah, and here's another looking kind of thing. This is the acrylic kind. The acrylic is really nice too. It's also craft paint, just like these, but just a different brand. I would recommend all these brands right here. You know, have a nice day.
So I'm still working on flowers here. This is where you can kind of use your own judgment with these colors. You can do, oh, Lemmy.
Lemmy's an artist too. He has the paintbrush. He's just wanting to paint with you.
It's over here, Lem. Get back on your tower.
Okay, so I know this is probably a common question you get, but like, why do you like the big brush so much?
I like the big brush because I can dip a little bit of paint and water on it, and I don't have to keep dipping. can use that brush over and over. And you can turn it on its side, and you can do different different things with that same brush. You can make a thin line, a thick line. It's more versatile. You can use it in different ways.
Very interesting. What kind of paintbrush did Bob Ross use?
He likes big brushes,
He does.
but Bob Ross used his palette knife a whole lot on painting.
What's a palette knife?
When you paint with oils especially, it's a metal knife, like kind of like a little spatula. I think you've painted with one before.
Me?
Maybe. We used to have a bunch of them, the little white ones. But he would take that and just kind of paste on the paint. So some of my lines are clear, some of them are kind of blurry, and I'm just kind of adding color where I feel like I need it. There's not really any rules to this. My painting is not going to look exactly like the original, but we're just doing little implications of some fun little flowers here. This big one, I saved her to last. I think that's a big rose or something. And the brush strokes that I'm going to use on that are going to be very thick. And they're going to kind of just spin around in almost like a swirl. And I'm going back and forth with my colors. Peony pink on top. And I'm just kind of, like I said, swirling the colors around here, leaving some white in the background. So you think of like a ton of little like parenthesis type shapes. Being messy, brush strokes, not thinking too much about it. It's all about shape.
The camera caught me.
Yeah.
You can see my back rolling through.
A little bit of white going through there, but using a lot of that white that I already have in the background from before. Okay, so pretty happy with that as far as colors go. It's very loose and watercolor looking and not too definite. No. No. Okay, so I'm adding a little black detail to these flowers now, just kind of putting a little bit of center, just kind of dab, dab, dab centers on these flowers here, leaving some white. A ghost! Woo! For dramatic effect. And then I'm adding little lines kind of coming out of the black. I don't know what kind of flowers these are, but they might be peonies. From black kind of squiggly donut up top here.
Alrighty, I'm back. I was just in the bathroom.
Well,
I saw a ghost run past. That was really creepy, guys.
You guys are so
little lines going out. Okay, and then if I get my liner brush back from Lemmy, who, are you taking a bath, buddy? After I do those little lines, I'm just gonna do kind of dab, 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 dab with that brush and add some little speckles, little speckles out here. Speckles, few speckles. Okay. And now we have to add our greenery. Maybe zoom in on the flowers real quick so they can see. So if you are at the point where you're doing this and you're like, this looks like a big huge mess, I'm about to kind of define things a little bit more with the greenery. So it really is a big huge mess. It's just loose brush strokes, kind of a swirly swirly flower here. You can kind of see the implications of these flowers, but I'm about to make it a little bit better. It's really hard to see that on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Look at this. That and that. They look identical. Just this one looks a little darker.
That's okay.
Because I think that yours doesn't have to be exact as the thing you're going for because it's kind of your creation. You know?
Yes. Very good, Scott. Okay. So I'm using my grass green and I'm going to add a few leaves. And the leaves are just going to be kind of like a football shape. Might have to cover that up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of apple tart to that color and come up here with a leaf shape. To be perfect. And then add a little bit of white to that so it's kind of fades off into the background a little bit, but we've got maybe a little bit of yellow too. That'll make it pretty. We've got another like leaf shape up here. Kind of a zigzaggy leaf shape. It's not really a leaf shape, it's kind of just like a mumbo jumbo green.
Can I give him another Nutriberry?
Nah, I think he's had enough Nutriberries.
Yeah, let me.
And then we've got to do.
Does he ever swing on this?
Oh, I missed a leaf.
Does he ever swing on this?
No, he climbs it sometimes.
He's just waiting on it.
This green leaf right here. Oh, I got a little bit of peony pink in my green. That's okay. Okay, so I've got some green leaves, but I need to add a little bit more fine detail. So that's where these things come in. It is an arch. Do you want to zoom in, Scotty?
Do you want me to zoom in? That's the real question.
I do. All right, so it's an arch out, and then you just add little leaflets on either side.
Kind of gives it a little like, what are they called? Bonnet thingy-majiggy.
A bonnet thingy-majiggy.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go with apple tart.
Oh.
Make sure you're on there.
Oh.
I'm gonna go on apple tart and add a lighter one over here. I'm gonna overlap a little bit. Okay, and add maybe a little bit of white and yellow to it just to get a different color. And she's got a third one.
Because all leaves aren't the same color. Like, see that? See that plant? That's not the same as this plant. I don't know. You're welcome.
Okay, so then I can look at my painting and see, well, do I need to separate anything?
Let's see.
I'll take just a little bit of my berry red and kind of just go around. I don't want to outline because it's watercolor. I want to go around and just add a little bit more to just kind of define some things a little bit. Separate. It's not an outline, but it is a dark shadow just to redefine.
I still see your shadows.
And then I'm going to
My
add
room.
a little bit of white to do the same thing. Just to give a little bit more complexity and another layer. All right. Clean my brush. Highlight a little bit of these leaves. A little white highlight on some of the leaves. And I think we are finished.
But you didn't do the background.
What do you mean I didn't do the background? It's white. That was the first thing I did. And it's not white. Look closer.
That is white.
No, it's not. That is white.
That is.
It's a very pale gray.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
It is a white.
No, it's not.
Guys, make sure you put some color in your background. So, are we done with the final creation and we should
This
show
is
it?
pretty much it. So the last thing that you want to do
Is do your
is
signature.
do your signature. What should we name her?
Her name's Penelope.
That's so weird that you said that.
Why?
Did you say Penelope?
I said Penelope.
Oh, because I was totally thinking Penelope.
Twinsie.
Penelope.
Penelope.
Thank you, painters. Until next time, happy painting.
Peace.